I've been doing this for a while and I forgot to put a microphone on, and I want to make sure that um, you guys can hear me. So now I need to make sure that this is actually working. All right. I've been doing this for years, media stuff, and I forgot to throw a microphone on this morning. Um, so I figured I'd jump on this morning and just chat about what's going on out there right now. We do have some snow moving in, and I can take a few questions as we get the day rolling here. And if this is something that seems to work, well, we'll do it more often. But you can drop your questions kind of in the comments, and I will eventually get to them and see them. I can answer questions from Facebook and YouTube, which is what I'm on right now. So we'll see how this morning broadcast goes. And as we're heading out the door, getting ready for school and everything else, I'll be on in the background for at least a little while here. So we'll start by taking a look at the live radar. And what we're seeing here is obviously precipitation, and this is snow that has moved on to really like the eastern side of the Avalon Peninsula as we are starting off the day. And this was certainly a little bit slower moving in than it looked like it was going to be even last night. I mean, if you go back 3 hours, it really didn't move in until about 4. And before that, at least in the metro area where we have the good observations, we were seeing, basically light snow, freezing drizzle, and now the precip rates have increased, so it's gone back to snow. But it doesn't look like it's going to last that long. Now, if you recall, a couple of days ago, when I said that the system that is bringing us the weather is one that often brings like some forecast frustrations because not everything is modeled correctly. Well, this is one of those times where it looked like there was going to be a lot more moisture over eastern areas than there is. For instance, one of the computer models last night, called the RDPS, had like 12 or 13 centimeters down in the metro area by now, and obviously that hasn't happened. And I wasn't biting, like I was, kind of looking at that, but I didn't really kind of lean hard into that part of the forecast. I was leaning lower rather than higher for snowfall, and we're going to be, maybe 3-4 centimeters in the highest terrain by the time this kind of winds down. But we're also going to be seeing periods of drizzle and kind of light snow and freezing drizzle throughout much of the day. And really, it's going to be elevation dependent. Higher terrain, you'll likely see flurries. Lower elevations, drizzle or freezing drizzle, and temperatures in the lower terrain are above freezing. My house is a tad above freezing, and then I was looking at areas like Kennymount Road and Kennymount Terrace, where temperatures are a tad below freezing in those higher elevated areas. The other thing we're not seeing here is where else is it precipitating right now, and we are seeing a fair bit of precipitation happening right now as we kind of zoom out, and we are seeing, essentially this area of snow still through central that is falling, mainly along the near south of the TCH. And so this is simulated radar imagery, and I didn't kind of preface that. This is simulated radar imagery. So this shows us where at least the computer thinks there should be snow or rain falling. And so the other thing of note is it may be overdoing this area of snow here, but there's also the chance that this snow that's falling over the Bonavista Peninsula is kind of below where the radar can see. So it might be here, but it might not be being picked up until it makes its way closer down to the Holyrood radar site. So something to kind of keep in mind as we get through the morning hours. Looks like we're also seeing a fairly stationary area of snow just east of Churchill Falls and kind of west of Nain in Labrador. Now, temperatures were 0 in St. John's at this hour. It's 1 degree down at Cape Brace. Bonavista is 0. Gander is 0. Badger is 0. Corner Brook is 0. And Port aux Basques and Burgeo currently 2 degrees and 3 degrees, respectively. Marystown is at 1. It's -1 in Cartwright. And look at Wabush this morning, -32 to start the day there. So it's pretty chilly. Taking a look at some of the webcams. So this is what it looks like at New Gower Street in downtown St. John's. Nothing substantial. Nothing that I would think is too bad, at least looking right there. Patty's Pond, TCH there just before 6:30, looks a little more snow-covered, snow coming down decently there. Fox Trap, so if you're heading out on the highway this morning, heading out of town, you're going to find the snow. Fox Trap road does not look great there. Looks like it's been touched because you can kind of see the stripes there on the road, but it looks like it's snow-covered. Veterans Memorial, Bay Roberts, Route 75. Just outside of Bay Roberts there is where the camera is. You can see the sign there in the bottom right corner. Not looking too bad, but it is snowing. Hearts Content Barrens, higher elevation, looks like road slick, snow covered. Patty's Pond, TCH, slippery, snow covered, not a lot of traffic right now. I do suspect as we get more traffic, the road will get a little more slushy and wet, but certainly keep that in mind. There's the view in Clarenville. We're not too bad. And then in Gander, looks like it was snowing through much of the night, and the TCH through Gander is currently slick and snow covered. And as we actually flip over and take a look at the road reports from across the island right now, we can see a lot of the roads on the Avalon are pink or blue, which if I bring up the legend here, it's partly covered or covered. So the TCH between like Whitburn and Southern Harbor is snow covered. And a lot of this over the isthmus here is a higher elevated area, especially as you get up towards like Doe Hills and kind of those kind of locations, not too far from like Chance Cove. Really, when you get to Chance Cove and like Bellevue, you're really high in that area, and like kind of the land on either side of the TCH slopes very steeply down to the coast. So I might be one of those situations where like if you're in Fairhaven or Little Harbor East or really on like the western side of the isthmus, it's probably not bad, but it might be more snowy on the like, eastern side of the isthmus. Goobies road is reported as partly covered. I think that's what the pink color means. And then through Terra Nova National Park, out towards Gander, partly covered. And this, there was an area between, I think, Bishops, Grand Falls, Windsor, and maybe Appleton or Gander last night that was reported as do not travel, or early this morning that has been lifted. And roads really across the rest of Newfoundland aren't too bad this morning, excuse me. School status report, I can refresh this to see what we're looking at. So there are some schools with delayed openings, Musgrave Town, Bishop White School in Port Rexton, Copper Ridge Academy in Bay Verte, Dorset Collegiate in Pilley's Island, Green Bay South Academy in Roberts Arm, Heritage Collegiate in Lethbridge, Random Island Academy in Hickman's Harbor, all opening 2 hours late, and St. Mark's School in Kings Cove opening 2 hours late. And obviously, St. Peter's All Great is not anticipated to open this year. So that's what we're looking at for school delays and closures. Not surprised because there's really not much going on out there this morning that I would consider like too bad. You know, we're probably going to get some complaints, people saying the roads are terrible. The roads are bad. But, you know, it's... sorry, my watch is bothering me this morning. You know, we got to expect a little bit of snow every now and again. And, you know, it's all drivable until it's not. But this is pretty decent road conditions. Granted, it's snowing, but we got a lot of snow. By 9 a.m., looks like the snow is pretty well done with for most of the Avalon. Maybe a little bit of flurry activity ongoing for the southern shore. Grand Falls, Windsor to Bonavista, Vista, and Bonavista Vista Bay down towards Terra Nova and Terra Nova National Park. Still seeing some snow at that point. And again, we're kind of going to be in and out of the drizzle and the light snow today, but temperatures near or above freezing, so it's going to have a kind of hard time sticking unless the rates really increase, and by evening we may get another round. So again, it's one of those days where higher elevations going to pick up a couple centimeters for sure. Lower areas, you know, based all across Newfoundland, we're not going to see much. Highs near 0 to about 1 today, maybe as warm as 2 in Corner Brook, Stephenville, 3 in Port aux Basques, and this is a day where the winds are from the north, so southern areas should see a pretty decent day today, especially areas like Port aux Basques, down to the Cadre Valley, parts of the south coast. If we can get some satellite imagery showing the sunshine today, I will certainly share that with you. And highs in coastal Labrador ranging from about 0 or 1 to -8 and -15 back in Lab City and Wallbush. The other thing of note is that, my goodness, I gotta move this little bug. The other thing of note is that it is going to be windy today on the Avalon. And for really like the northern part of the Avalon Peninsula, the Bonavista Peninsula, and the Northeast Coast. And that is something to kind of keep in mind as we do go through the day, is that it is going to turn windy, a lot windier than yesterday and a lot windier than it's been for the last few days. So that's something to keep in mind, and don't be surprised if those wind speeds pick up. And I want to share with you something now, so I'm trying to do kind of two things at once here, which is why I'm not looking right at the camera right now. So I want to share with you this image here, if I can get it to show up. So this is, okay, so this is actually a really good indicator. So this image here is going to show us the wind gust swath for today. So this is where the highest winds are going to be found. Essentially the green is like anything over 70. So like from just northeast of St. Anthony to like around like Twillingate, Fogo Island, Cape Friels, New West Valley, Bonavista, Port Rexton area, you know, just east of Kings Cove, Greats Cove, Bay de Verde, and then the northeast Avalon. This is where we're going to see those winds gusting to 70 today. Outside of that, we're not looking super windy, which is why I'm kind of only highlighting one area, because it's not going to be super windy. But if you're looking at this and you're, you know, anywhere from like I said, Twillingate, Fogo Island, Northeast Coast, Bonavista Peninsula, Avalon, it's going to be windy today with winds gusting, you know, 70 to 80 kilometers per hour. 7-day forecast will show that we're looking at potentially a little more snow on Thursday, although it does not look like a whole lot right now, with temperatures above freezing for eastern, central Newfoundland, western areas, and the northern peninsula looking a little bit more snow Thursday, and then some quieter weather by the weekend and into Labrador along the coast. We will see more snow Thursday and Friday. North coast, more flurries or snow showers. West coast, western areas of Labrador, a few flurries or snow showers Thursday, Friday, and warming up, and same thing for the Goose Bay area. The other thing of note, that if you're on the west coast, you will see a little more snow activity. It looks like Friday and potentially Saturday compared to what we've seen the last couple of days, which has pretty well been quite quiet. So that's where we are. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to this scene here, and we'll just, if I can find any questions, I'll throw them up. If not, let's see, I got Brandon Mercer. Brandon said, let's see if I can get this one to cover up my name instead of Bug. Looking forward to see what snow is coming for Thursday. Rained all day here yesterday on the coast, and don't want the snow to disappear yet. It's not going to go anywhere for a while. Like, it's going to snow. Like, it's going to, might rain a little bit, but we're not looking at like heavy rain anytime soon. Good morning from the Isle of Man, says Keith Wood. Good morning, Keith. We luckily have less wind after a bad week last week. I hear all that. I hear that with the wind. Speaking of wind, December and January were really windy, and I'm working on some stats on that might be a bit eye-opening. Is it safe to drive into St. John's from Clarenville, says Inez Power. So Inez, here's the thing. I can only look at like essentially what the webcams and the road conditions state, right? So if we go back to this, if we go back to this, you know, here's what it says. It says that it's partly covered or snow covered from Clarenville basically all the way into St. John's right now. So is it safe? That's for you to decide. I can't tell you it's safe because it may or may not open me up to any kind of liability. If the pavement was bare, black, and dry, I would say yes, absolutely. But is it safe? Would I do the drive? Probably. But would I drive in and what like my wife drives in, or my father-in-law or mother-in-law or brother or mom or dad would drive in, all vary. I'm very comfortable driving in a little bit of snow. Some people aren't. So would I say it's safe? That's, you know, it's not a blizzard, but if you don't like driving in snow, that's, you know, you have to kind of decide that. But it's not, you know, it's slippery for sure in some areas. You know, I can leave it at that. Looking for Saturday forecast for driving, says Tracy Crocker. Now, is that gonna... Saturday looks okay, I think, at the moment. We'll keep a close eye on it. Is St. John's getting snow today, says Marion Wayland. Yes, we are going to see snow. It's snowing now. It will snow really through for the next few hours, and then it will snow like, you know, kind of on and off as the day does kind of progress. But we're not looking at like a ton of snow, a couple centimeters, you know, but we're not looking at a lot. And if we go back to the radar screen, we can see where the snow is located right now. And it's, you know, kind of heaviest, looks like south of the St. John's Metro. And the cool thing about this radar system I have, it's similar to what I had when I was on the television side of things, is we can zoom like all the way in, and we can do all sorts of cool stuff with this. So like we can look at like, so this is just showing us snow. If I actually just flip over to rate, so this shows us precipitation rate. Oh, kids are up. I may have to cut this one short. You can see there that like the darker greens are down around Bay Bulls. That's like the Witless Bay line. Down around Holyrood, that's where we're seeing the kind of heaviest snow for the time being. So I'm going to throw together a little blog post here now. I'll get that posted up. My kids are awake, and they may or may not need me. The joys of being a dad. So in the meantime, follow me for updates. If you don't have my app, be sure to get it in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. I've also gotten a lot of questions about merchandise and mugs and things like that. It's coming. Not today, but hopefully soon, so stay tuned on that. Have a very good day. I'll have a more comprehensive, kind of faster update for you here shortly. But in the meantime, have a very good, it's Tuesday morning, and I'll have my next update for you. Well, my next like long form update this afternoon. Lots of updates in the meantime in the app. Get that, SheerWeather, Google Play Store, Apple App Store, and on my social channels, Facebook, X, Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram, TikTok even. Find me on all of those spaces. Have a very good Tuesday, and we'll be talking soon.